everyone, this is Nikachu, and it is time for me to do the Patreon Ask Me Anything for 2018. And before I do it, I would love to so much thank all my patrons supporting me on Patreon. Thank you very much for supporting the channel and showing your devotion to Merfolk. So let's start this off with XL Eric. Do you have any routines regarding preparation for tournaments besides actual Magic stuff? Like playtesting? Do you eat anything special or watch a special movie? Name it. So there are two distinct things that I do in preparation for tournaments, and the first one is I'm going to start sleeping a little bit earlier and earlier every single day to prepare for waking up early on the day of the tournament. So let's say I am going to sleep around 1 a.m. In the morning, you know, every day for whatever reason. A lot of people like to stay up really late. But it's not good for a tournament. You need your brain, it needs to be well rested. You need about 8 hours of sleep. So if I go to sleep at 1 o'clock and I need 8 hours and I wake up at 9, and let's say the tournament starts at 10 o'clock, I may not have time to wake up, eat breakfast, and make it to the tournament in that 1 hour. Or it depends when the tournament starts. There are some events that maybe you have to wake up early and you're going to have a very long road trip to that event. So depending on the circumstances, I need to slowly, over the course of like maybe a week, go to sleep 15 minutes earlier, another 15 minutes earlier, so that I can get to a point where, you know, I'm going to sleep at like 11:30 or 11 o'clock p.m. And I can wake up at 7 a.m. and I have plenty of time to prepare myself to get to the event without losing any sleep, because I want to have at least 7.5 hours, but ideally 8 and 8.5. You want to be as well rested as possible because you're in for a really long day. It's a marathon, and whoever has the most energy by the end is going to have the best chance to win. And the other thing that I do is I'm going to start exercising if I know I'm going to be playing in a big event. Like, nothing super serious. If anyone out there already exercises, you go to the gym, you're way ahead of the field. When you're in shape, when you're fit, and you are exercising regularly, your brain can perform at a much higher level as the day goes into the later hours. But for people who don't exercise, you know, you will at some point collapse. You know, tournaments are a very physical thing. You cannot separate your brain from your body. It's impossible. And your brain's performance is going to be significantly correlated to how strong and healthy your body is. So as I get closer and closer to a tournament, I'm going to be doing, either I'm going to the gym, which I'm not actually doing, to be honest. So you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of Nikachu if you already go to the gym. But I do things like doing push-ups or sit-ups every single day until I'm exhausted. And at least for me, that helps put me in a sort of physical shape that is going to prepare me for the tournament. And then going into the tournament, you mentioned something about what I eat. I actually eat a bunch of garbage, but the like McDonald's and A&W and other fast food, greasy pizza. This is all going to depend on the person. I'm definitely in a minority where I can eat processed nonsense and I gain a lot of energy from it, but it's not going to be like that for everybody. You know, experiment with food. Stay away from food that makes you tired, that makes you heavy. Stick to food that's going to give you energy. That's what you want to do. It just so happens that McDonald's gives me energy, so I stick with McDonald's and nonsense like that. Everyone always asks me, why are you eating this garbage? And I said, because it's what my body needs, damn it. So I hope that clarified some things for you. So next, let's go to Stefan. Dear Mr. Pro Player, with more Jaces on the horizon, is it time for cards such as Smuggler's Copter to shine again? Or might that line up badly against Bloodbraid Elf decks that will play Kolaghan's Command. Do you know what? I actually think that if we're going to be in for a super huge control metagame, that Smuggler's Copter most definitely needs to return. It's very good against sweepers. It's very good at grinding out these decks. And with Supreme Verdict and Jace the Mind Sculptor encouraging the control player to tap out, then there will be more opportunities for Smuggler's Copter to get in for damage without the fear of getting hit by a removal spell. And I think that Copter will be a constant reminder to the Jace player that their Jace is in a lot of trouble. So I think the Copter could potentially come back. And you know what? I don't think the fear of Bloodbraid Elf and Kolaghan's Command is quite enough for me to forget about Smuggler's Copter. Like, I think Copter still is very good against any deck that plays Kolaghan's Command. Yeah, sometimes you're going to get hurt pretty often, but more often than not, Smuggler's Copter is going to get you the value that you need to help grind out those decks. I really like the card. But the problem is we don't know where the modern metagame is going yet. A lot of people tried Jace in the beginning, and a lot of people actually ended up not liking it. And I'm seeing I'm seeing less and less Jace decks as I play online, so it may not be, Jace may not be the most popular type of deck, and the whole metagame may not end up being swamped by Jace. So I don't know for sure if we need Copter, but certainly it is a contender, and if anyone wanted to play it, I don't blame them at all. So Jeremy asks, with what you've seen so far, Jace and Bloodbraid Elf, which version of the Merfolk deck do you think is the best against the meta? And I'm betting on Mono Blue, but maybe there's something I'm not seeing with Coco Merfolk. So let's assume, let's assume Jace the Mind Sculptor and Bloodbraid Elf take over the metagame, and Jund is a really big deck. Mono Blue will have the edge, because Master of Waves has the edge over Collected Company, especially against Jund. Against the control decks, it's pretty close. Collected Company will be better than Master of Waves against control decks that don't play red. So we're talking Blue-White Controller Esper. Collected Company is better against those decks because those decks have enough answers to Master of Waves that Master Waves is just nothing special against that deck. It's not playing around anything. All the removal spells kill Master of Waves, whereas Collected Company is going to be that instant speed value that will help give us an edge against those types of decks. But when it comes to red-based control decks, Master Waves is going to be really good because they're going to have enough red removal that will be complete blanks against the Master of Waves. So Master Waves can randomly become a random win condition against those decks. However, against Jund, Master Waves is just going to be way better, and Collected Company is just going to be way softer. Dismember coupled with Master of Waves is very strong against Jund compared to Water Trap Weavers and Collected Companies. The problem is Master of Waves can deal with like a bunch of Tarmogoyfs on the board. Because let's say you play Master of Waves and you get like a bunch of elemental tokens. So now it can block a lot of huge Tarmogoyfs, also threatening to counterattack for the win if those Tarmogoyfs even want to attack. Whereas with Collected Company, Water Trap Weavers and 2 creatures are fine, but you know what? The big creatures like a Giant Scavenging Ooze and Tarmogoyfs can usually bury you. And Dark Confidant also is a problem if you're not playing Dismember, because if they play a Dark Confidant and you have no way of removing it from the board, things like Water Trap Weaver are just not very good against it. They're just going to get like a bunch of value off of their Dark Confidant. So I would, in that world, Master Waves is better. I give the edge to blue, but I wouldn't say Collected Company is unplayable. Like, it's not like, oh, this deck is trash. And no, it is very playable, but I definitely give the edge to Master of Waves. That's assuming that we're headed for a very Jace and Bloodbraid Elf metagame, which may or may not happen. Modern hasn't figured itself out yet. A lot of people have been playtesting Jace the Mind Sculptor, and not everyone is very convinced with it. So Eddie asks, will any Merfolk be reprinted in the next set Dominaria? Well, how the hell am I supposed to know that? However, do you know what? I bet we could take a pretty good guess. I don't think any of the core Merfolk cards are going to get reprinted because they've already been reprinted. I mean, just recently with between the Goblins versus Merfolk deck and a few reprints here and there, I don't see any reason for them reprinting any of the core cards. They've reprinted Harbinger, Mare-Regery, Master of the Pearl Trident, Mutavault is a Grand Prix promo, Curse Catcher just got reprinted in Masters 25, Island Walk is not an evergreen mechanic, so Lord of Atlantis is not getting reprinted. I mean, obviously True Name Nemesis is not going to get reprinted. There's a chance that Tidebinder Mage could get reprinted. There's a chance, especially since Red, the Hazaret Red deck, Wins deck, won the Pro Tour last summer. That's enough time, I think, in Wizards' cycle of making sets that they could like jam a Tidebinder Mage in the set. But it's not an exciting reprint because Tidebinder Mage isn't worth anything. What else did they... I mean, they reprinted Master of Waves. They've reprinted everything, so I don't really expect them to reprint anymore. But maybe Tidebinder Mage, or if they reprint any Merfolk, it's like some sort of garbage that we don't use right now. And lastly, Edward S., can you go through the shrine behind you and show some of your collection of non-modern Merfolk MTG cards? We have seen the foil deck and the home alterations to your deck posted, you know, last 401. Got anything awesome? All right, let's go check it out.
So here's the mighty shrine. So let's start with the top. Look, that's the cute Pusheen. I picked this thing up for myself. From last time I went to Grand Prix Minneapolis, we dropped by, Team WoW and I, we went to the Mall of America, and I saw this little guy in the window, and I said, oh, I gotta pick this thing up for my channel. I got this thing in Taiwan. I don't remember what this thing says, but it's pretty cute. It has kitties, it has fish, I love it. So, yeah, that's that thing. Now we move down over here. Maybe starting from the right. That's Pikachu. That was a gift I got from my girlfriend April once upon a time, a long time ago. This is a nice, some sort of motivational thing. I don't remember what this thing says. I picked this thing up also during my trip in Taiwan. This is the trophy that I won for winning the Face-to-Face Games Championship that they held here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Merfolk beat Dredge in the finals. Turns out Dredge is no problem. This is the badge they give me when you go on the Pro Tour. When you're on the Pro Tour, if you want to be in the Pro Tour room with all the other Pro Tour players, you got to show them your badge. You better have this thing on. So that's my badge. Yeah, I have nothing against Nissa. Nissa's great, but probably I was destined for something blue. Not to go too far off the trail, but this was my other souvenir from that Pro Tour Hour of Devastation. It's nice. They were selling a lot of little rinky-dink things and some playmats and hats and t-shirts and stuff like that, but I spotted the mono blue symbol, so I had to take that. I just put up all these Bloodbraid Elves because they unbanned her. Thank you for being unbanned, Bloodbraid Elf. You're going to contribute to a lot of wins for Merfolk. I know it. I know it. If black, green, and red lands are going to come into fashion, then Spreading Seas is going to be really strong, and certainly so is Master of Waves. I had Jace the Mind Sculptor posted all over the place, but Team WoW needs them. Team WoW needs my Jace the Mind Sculptors. Here's some Pusheen stickers. They came from Team WoW. Team WoW got me a Pusheen calendar. Came with some stickers. Have nowhere to put the calendar right now, but the stickers, they're adorable. This came from my mother. She knows my brother and I love Five Nights at Freddy's, and so she got some tiny Lego assembly things. This is from Five Nights at Freddy's 3, I believe. This came from a Japanese dollar store when I was in Taiwan. This thing is just like I can't remember how much it cost, but it was pretty cheap. And it's got some fish on it. It has very nice art. I like it. I like that style. Love the style of the fish. So moving down, this was a beautiful altar. Beautiful altar. The Bunny Master of Waves by, I believe, Andrew Richardson. I hope I'm getting that patron correct. I hope I'm getting, or I'm getting the fan correct. Look at that altar, look at that. The Master of Waves. The Bunny Master of Waves. So we've got I don't know where this guy is from, but I won him at a local game store in Daytona Beach, Florida. I forget the local game store, but the person working there was really nice, really great. I believe I won the tournament, the modern tournament I attended there, and they said, you know what, you can get one of these random figurines in a box. And I took the box and I got this guy, and everyone said this is a good one. Millmaster sent me, I believe this is an alpha Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. Fish on, that's right, Millmaster, you fish on as well. This is my first alpha card. My absolute, I've never touched an alpha card before. Great stuff. Tim Spear just recently sent me this. Again, the Master of Waves bunny. Fixed correctly, actually. I wonder what, this is an RK Post altar. I wonder what RK Post thought of my Master of Waves bunny when he saw it. Like, if you go back here, so Richardson copied what I did, but you know, the bunny's not actually, how can I put, the anatomy is incorrect. So for example, the bunny's feet and body is facing this way, and sure, the head can be turned that way, but let's say this is the stomach facing this way, then why can we see the tail over here? But that's how I drew it, because it's a cartoon and I don't care if it's correct. But RK Post decided to fix that. Look, both feet facing this way, both feet. You see? RK Post saw through my nonsense. This is a bunny that I got from Annie. Annie's a sweet woman. She made me she made this stuffed animal. Oh yeah, I love it. This is the plaque that I got for getting second place at Grand Prix Vancouver. They make you feel, you know, they say you're a finalist. They make it sound good. You shouldn't be disappointed. I wasn't disappointed, but you know, psychologically most people usually are. More Blood Braid Elves. So these little things on the bottom, they're all these little trinkets I got in Taiwan from my girlfriend Vivi. She got them for me for my birthday. We got the little chicken and we got the little cute piggy on he's on pancakes. I didn't even notice. Didn't even pay attention to what he's standing on. This was a neat altar. This was a gift to me from Andrew Day 2 Dryden. He had Madison Gigi Gibbons, an altar artist, make this thing, and he made it because of the creature rabbit. It is the only card in Magic the Gathering that you can buy and it says creature type rabbit on it. There are other rabbits in the game, but they've been only errated to rabbit, and they'll say like in the original card they'll say like creature type beast. So this is the only one that says rabbit, and it's holding an ether vial. More cute stickers, more cute stuff I got from Vivi from Taiwan. More Blood Braid Elves. Oh, these are sick. Okay, so we have Master of Waves elemental tokens here. So these over here are very neat, very interesting ones. I can't read a damn thing on it, but it makes it feel very, I don't know, mystical. Something magical about these elemental tokens. And they were donated to me by the Mighty Sparts. You can look him up on Twitter. He does a lot of elemental tokens. And these are fantastic elemental tokens done by Sophie Yano. Sophie Yano, very talented cartoon artist. You can go check her out on Twitter as well. She does a lot of neat things. But these are, the style is beautiful. Just an absolutely beautiful style. Where do we go from here? Oh, here's a Pikachu. I picked this thing up. I think, no, this came from a former girlfriend in Poland, Anya. This came from a friend, Angela. She knows I love Lucas, I love Ness, I love Earthbound. So when I play Super Smash Bros., I'm always playing with either Ness or Lucas because these guys are busted. They're busted when I play with them. More stuff from Taiwan. Now this is a neat thing. We've got it is a miscut elemental token. Madison Gigi Gibbons, who works for Fusion Gaming. She was working at a GP, and she found this in some collection or something and saved it for me. Thanks a lot, Madison Gigi Gibbons. This is a Pusheen sticker. My brother got me this Money Cat. Fantastic Money Cat. And all the boxes I just bought so I can build this thing. And as I start collecting more things, I'm going to add it to the shrine. So now, let's get on with some cards that I own. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready to see what cool stuff Nikachu has? Here's Nikachu's binder. A lot of dual lands. I have a lot of dual lands. I was investing heavily into Legacy and Modern like 4 or 5 years ago when I was getting back into Magic. I was like, these things are probably going to get really expensive. Do you know what? I'm going to buy them now before they go nuts. And at the time I was in Europe, and they were, and like as a result, I have like some foreign language one. We've got the German one, Vulkaninsel, whatever. I think that's the only German volcanic island I have. And yeah, they were actually selling cheaper than in America, and I'm like, oh, if I can keep getting these for like $100 when they're like $150 or $200 in the United States, yeah, I'm gonna keep buying more. And then since then, you know, they've lost their mind. So we have Tropical Islands. You know, I didn't know what I wanted to play at the time for Legacy, so I just made sure I had all sorts of stuff. And there are some extras that I got because they were part of a combo of other cards. So we have a bunch of Savannah, some of them foreign. Same thing with the Taigas. This is just some. This was borrowed, and they just wrote on the inner sleeve. So more dual lands. No, these dual lands. Rodney Tope Thompson needed them. This one's actually signed. And I just have an assortment of like fetch lands and shock lands, you know. These things, while I definitely won on the finance side for these cards, I most certainly lost on these cards. As soon as Cons of Tarkir hit, these things like crashed. I don't even know why I still have them in my binder, so I just have a bunch of lands. We've got foil smugglers copters, because where else am I gonna put them? The foil Japanese ones are with the Merfolk toolbox. Got some abrupt decays, just in case I wanted to play Jund. A bunch of abrupt decays. Also, I was playing around that time, so that's when I was starting to get back into Magic for reals. Yeah, picked up a playset of Stoneforge Mystic, because who knows? That was a big legacy card. But yeah, I have. Well, here's the thing. I started off by playing Bug Delver, and I was foiling it out. So we've got like a bunch of foil Delver of Secrets. Not really selling. I didn't really feel like... I've sold a lot of cards, but I didn't feel like selling these things. I don't think they're very expensive. They could reprint this at a moment's notice, but, you know, maybe under the right conditions it would become popular again, and I can sell it at that time. And oh, Progenitus. Look at all the wasted GPs I got this thing in. This is terrible. What a stupid promo. This was just a big mistake, Wizards. That was a really stupid promo. I don't know where your marketing team thought that this was a good idea, but that was not a good idea. I hate useless promos. Useless. Moving on, more lands, dual lands, tons. I mean, you might ask why do I have so many overgrown tombs? And you know, sometimes they're just part of, or I just traded into overgrown tombs. These days I don't trade at all. What do we have here? Woo! Got assorted stuff. So I have like a foil donate from back in the day. I mean, I started playing in like 1999, so I had some cards from back then. Powder keg was a hell of a thing back then. Foil powder keg. Let's look at this foil powder keg. It's too bad. Like, this is the original ratchet bomb. I mean, it's still useful if you want to not hit planeswalkers, because at the sacrifice powder keg, destroy each artifact and creature with converted mana cost equal to the number of fuse counters on powder keg. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a fuse counter on powder keg. So it has a beginning of upkeep trigger. You got to remember, just like your ether vial. Look at those old foils. The old foils look so much better than the new foils by like miles. Like, look at the old blue. Look at that old blue. The old blue is way better. In foil, I'll say. Outside of foil, it looks terrible. This thing probably should be in a sleeve. I have an Isocrown Scepter in here for some reason. This is just a bunch of loose cards. I think there used to be stuff in between here, but I sold it. Or moved it. Or better organized it. This, I have this. There's actually a bit of a story behind this card. So a long time ago, back in 1999 to 2000, I was playing the Fires of Yavimaya standard deck, and I actually jammed this thing in there, and I had a lot of success with this card. But I'll tell you what I traded for this card. It was actually a Junior Super Series Lord of Atlantis, because I played in the Junior Super Series at that time, and I got a Lord of Atlantis, and there was this guy who wanted to trade it for me, and I'm like, I can't remember. I think it was a judge, and he knew that I was playing with the two-headed dragon in my deck, and he also knew that I liked foils. I was addicted to foils back then. Oh, that's nice art. You know, a lot of the art back then was garbage. This was a good one. I don't mind the artists that had good symmetry, good design, good angles, and whatever. So this was, yeah, this was traded. I traded a Junior Super Series Lord of Atlantis for this thing, and it had a bit of chip in it. I didn't care. I didn't care. This is beautiful. It's beautiful. Many victories with this two-headed dragon. Fire and Ice, Hymn to Tarax. These are all useless cards now. Treasure Cruise in there for some reason. Some loose cards, got some Brainstorms. Oh my god, the foil Urza's Rage. All I can tell you is that at the time that this was printed, it was like worth $1 billion. I remember I traded like my entire trade binder for this thing, and now it's like worthless garbage. Well, all it reminds me of is how much I traded for this thing, and now it's useless. These are very... if they made iconic masters, they might as well have put these things in them. If they want to instill nostalgia, they should put Masticore and Morphling in some sets. I mean, these are very, very iconic and nostalgic cards. I mean, these were the mind-blowing bombs of the time. It's hard to believe Masticore was like a tier 1 bomb. This thing is pathetic by today's standards. You can't afford to discard a card every single turn. It's amazing. Card advantage is just worth so much now. Some weird crap. I think I have a lot of these are like Commander-ish stuff. I thought I might have gotten into Commander. I have some Blasphemous Acts. I think I spec'd on this. I'm not a huge specker, but I was like, this thing is worthless, and this looks like it could be very good in Commander, so like, why not own a few of these? Should probably cash in on those if they're worth more than 5 cents. This, I think I just have it, I think since Standard. I probably should have sold them when they went up. I'm not really good with speculating because I'm bad with selling cards. I'm good at buying cards, but I'm really bad at selling cards because I just forget about selling them. Some stuff. Got normal foil Tidebinder Mages. Ooh. Yeah, I've got normal. This could be giveaways one day. This could be giveaways. So what people may not know is I foiled out my Merfolk deck all in English before I decided to transform it into Japanese. So I have a lot of foil English cards in Merfolk. Most of them got sold by now. Siege Rhinos, Acidic Slime. That was a stupid spec. Some Cyclonic Rifts, Tinker, a Vapor Snag. So, I love the Mono Blue Devotion deck so much that I foiled the whole thing out. I have no regrets. I know I was foiling out something that would be completely worthless post-rotation, but no regrets. That was my favorite standard deck of all time. Foil Cloudfin Raptors that cannot get rid of. Some foils. Oh, I just like this one because it's got birds in it. They're very pretty. This is why I like the new art over a lot of the old art. Look at the detail. Look at the colors. Look at the composition. We might as well pull it out. So I am overall a fan of the new art over the old. And it's just a beautiful foil. Doesn't do crap, doesn't do shit. This is I don't know, a super commander card. You have a foil Core Spirit Dancer in there. Here's my foil Thieving Magpie Shrine. Should probably put one of these up there. So this is the original card that got me into the game. This was my very first card. That's Thieving my very first card I ever owned. And then slowly I got like some foils. So here's an original foil. Here's a lame 9th edition foil, but you know, with the good art. Japanese. Here is just a foil. Here's a foil. And foil Japanese Thieving Magpie. I can't remember what I paid for this. I think I paid like $10. But what I feel bad about is like, I was in some sort of bidding war with someone on eBay over this thing. And the one before this sold for like $3. And anyway, so me and someone else pushed this thing to $10, and I felt like really stupid getting this thing for like $10 US. And then the next time another one showed up, it was $10. Damn it! I want like a playset of the original Urza's Destiny in foil Japanese, but it's gonna cost me more money than I really care for. And some more original foil Thieving Magpies. Now here is where we get into something very interesting. You see, I hate it. Well, here's some more birds. Love birds. Oh, I got a nice Russian one from some Polish friends back in Poland. Shout out to Poland. Poland's great. Love the magic scene out there. I made a bird deck once. Here's some of those birds. So check this out. I hated the art back then, so what I did was I erased the picture. This is 12-year-old Nikachu. Erases the picture and draws his own thing on it. Got the pulp and paper factory here. What was probably used to be a forest. We got a mountain here, the golf course. We have an island. So in addition to erasing images, I would draw on top of them. I don't remember this. We got the angry cloud in the corner there. The angry cloud. The Thornscape Battle Mage. Boy, look at that ugly... I mean, you know what? To be totally fair, the composition is all good and whatever, but somehow the art is just not doing it for me. I cannot connect with this art. There's some sort of ugly, piggish, hornish thing over there. What else do I have here? We gave him a crown and some sunglasses. He's rocking the sunglasses. Oh yeah, got a smiley face. We have a meteor in the top right corner. Ancient Hydra. Each head. Let's pull this guy out. Ancient Hydra. One has an arrow in his head. One has a mustache and a tie and a hat. I found it a lot more fun to play with cards like this than to Have to stare at this image otherwise. So, when I was a kid, I created this character called Onion Man, and Onion Man was basically this onion that was just completely stupid. This is no brains whatsoever. So we have here, Onion Man eats a block of butter. Onion Man always remembers to wash his hands after going pee, splash. I don't remember what the image was for for memory lapse, but I preferred to have Onion Man on there. And I put opt. This opt cost me regionals. I don't remember what that means. I think this card. I don't understand why this card cost me a tournament. Oh, maybe it did. Whatever. I might have top decked it at the wrong moment or something. The original opt. We're seeing opt right now in modern. There it is. Peek, peekaboo. I'm not a pervert. All your hand are belong to me. And ha 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 ha. So here's Hurricane. Hurricane's great. This is one of my greatest altars of all time. There's a little cow in the background. Not very fun for the cow, but you know, whatever. So we have another Hurricane. There's a house. There's a tree. A fence. I can't see what this is. I think a car and a couch. Or a sofa, chair or something. Oh, this was cool. Mage and Cage. Disrupts. They should bring this back into Modern. Counter target instant, interrupt, or sorcery spell unless its caster pays an additional one and you draw a card. That's pretty sweet. Mage in Cage. Mage in Cage. This, yeah, not a fan. Somehow, I don't know. I guess this looks like a comic book or something. I just did not like that sort of art on these Magic cards. Now, I have nothing against people's styles. There's definitely a lot of styles, but somehow the art at the time did not connect with me whatsoever. So here's some great altars. Llanowar Elves. So this is Link. And certainly artists can disagree with my art. So this Llanowar Elves is a Santa elf. Got another Link Llanowar elf. Another Santa elf. I think these are all different Llanowar elves. I don't think I have the same edition on any of these. They're all different. This one looks super old. I have no idea which one this is. Oh, great story. Okay, so here's the Chimeric Idol, which was a staple standard card at the time. And it has all the different expressions. We've got happiness. We've got I think neutralness. This is like deviousness. This is sadness. That one's sadness. Poor Chimeric Idol. But here's the hilarious thing. Okay, so way back in the day, this guy named Jason Howden, who happens to be the owner of Fusion Gaming, he really wants this Chimeric Idol that I have. He's got like 3 Chimeric Idols, perfect condition. He's a foil hound. He wants my 4th Chimeric Idol, and it's really hard to get foils back then. We're talking 1999. And I just told him, no, I'm not trading this thing. And in the end, I ended up erasing the image. This card was worth something. It was decent. It was worth a decent chunk at the time. And I replaced it with this happy turtle. I'm very happy that I did that. So we've got brushland here. Bunch of sheep everywhere. Some sheep eating sheep. Another brushland, more sheep. Carplesan Forest. You know, how else can you express a forest and fire? Should be a forest fire. Another Carplesan Forest. I'm a fan of cats. Some people thought that I'm torturing cats. I'm a fan of cats. I just try to put it in my images. Another Carplesan Forest. Poor raccoon. No home. I actually think that this is the very first image of a bunny that I put in art, to be honest. I know I have a lot of imagery of bunnies. This might be the very first one. On this Carpleton Forest. Repulse. Cat goes into outer space. Yeah. Was this reprinted? No, it was virtually reprinted. That's what it was. If you control a Merfolk, you can cast it at instant speed. That's right. And another repulse. Cat getting sucked up into a vacuum. Ristic lightning. Cat getting hit with lightning. Blastoderm. Might as well have my own alligator dinosaur looking picture of him. Another Blastoderm. Cavu Chameleon. You can't counter my elite skills. Cavu Chameleon and Wizard. Flame Tongue Cavu was such a bomb back then. Super bomb. At some point I associated the Cavus with this face. So we got Flame Tongue Cavu, we got Cavu Chameleon again. Although I put it on this Ramosian Sergeant. Cavu Chameleon. Cavu Chameleon. So those are all my cards. I hope you liked it. I'm gonna thank everyone who supports me on Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions this week. This has been Nikachu for the Patreon Ask Me Anything February 2018.